Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 168 of The Rewind, a podcast dedicated to keeping its listeners on the cutting edge of the MMORPG Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. As always, we take the first part of the show to thank our wonderful listeners. You are the reason we come back each week, and we couldn't do this show without you. If you are enchanted by the sultry tones of Mr. Coddleshire reading the names off each week of our adventuring and raiding party, and are interested in being a part of that, take a look at our Patreon or YouTube memberships, and you too can have your name read each week. If you want to take it one step further and be a part of our weekly Top 5 segment, then just look right at the raid team option, and I promise to be gentle on your first list before I completely destroy your terrible choices the following week. Huge shout out to our newest member, Eliv. Lastly, please forgive Drax's sick voice. I would do the show myself so you wouldn't have to listen to him, but I don't really do anything, and there wouldn't be a show without him. So it's either this or nothing. Now, on with the show.
The adventurers gathered in a loose circle around an old oak tree, its bark marked with a hastily carved target. The air buzzed with friendly competition as Eliv, the halfling rogue, twirled a dagger between nimble fingers, grinning at his opponent. Dwimble, the gnome rogue, first to 5 hits wins, Archbishop the dwarf paladin declared, crossing his thick arms. Dwimble smirked. Hope you're ready to lose, Eliv. Calarok, the other dwarf paladin, let out a hearty chuckle. Ha ha, my gold's on Eliv. Halflings have the hands of tricksters. That just means she's sneaky, Ziplox, the Darkmare rogue, added, adjusting his grip on his own daggers. Annoying Llama, the human monk, sat cross-legged nearby, watching the contest with serene interest. Precision is a matter of discipline, not luck. The first round began. Dwimble threw with confidence, his dagger striking the outer ring of the target. A respectable shot. Eliv, however, barely seemed to aim before flicking his wrist. His dagger landed dead center. Not bad, screeched the Scarbard said, tapping on a rhythm on his lute. But let's see if you can keep it up. After another round, Eliv's dagger struck true, each throw impossibly precise. Anton Duviditis, the Darkmare Shaman Glyphkeeper, observed with a quiet smile, murmuring an old sea shanty under his breath. On the final throw, Dwimble lined up his shot, focused, and let it fly, only for the wind to nudge his blade just off center. Before the dagger even hit, Eliv threw the last one, splitting the previous blade in half. Looks like we have a champion, Churro-Dude the Gnome Summoner announced, clapping. Beginner's luck, Dwimble huffed, through a smile tugged at his lips. Beginner, Eliv chuckled. I never stop practicing.
This week in Visionary Realms News and Notes.
All right, VR news and notes. Here we go, Damos. I am sick, but I am persevering through because we cannot let down our guard. We have to press forward. We are the Pantheon Rewind, and we will not be stopped.
Man, you sound like absolute terribleness. I can't believe that we are not taking this week off, but here we go. I just also woke up from a nap, so because your boy Daimlos finally got a job. Hey, look, listeners, I did it. I finally got a job.
Congrats to you for being a part of the working world again.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Coming out of early retirement is exciting, but not as exciting as these VR news and notes.
I mean, we had a bunch of stuff this week, which is why I was like, we can't skip this week. It's too much good stuff. Starting with server merges. Ugh. And just in case you didn't know, server merges are coming, whether you want them to or not. But the good news is apparently 78% of you, according to the poll done by VR, want the server merges and don't care if you lose your character name.
Clearly, none of them are on Stormona. That's not true. I bet there are a lot of people on Stormona that would really like people to play. Can we get our own private server, Drac? Do you think we could like message VR and be like, hey, we just want our own server for our static group. Can we set that up? Yeah, I don't think they're going to say yes to that, but it'd be nice. It'd be really nice.
Remember when Zelik made his own EverQuest server and put it up? That was kind of fun for a while.
Yeah, except all the pain that takes to run it. So I don't want to put that on VR and make them charge for our 30-person guild.
Why not? They're making servers for everything else. We got a PvP server, we got a role-playing server, we got a hold my hand server. Like, we got all the servers. Why can't they make a server for us?
That's the dream. Can we just keep Stormono? That's really, first off, if someone else is named Daimlos out there, I'm gonna be real pissed and we get merged in with them. There needs to be something, whoever created the account first or whoever created the name first, because I know I was the very first Daimlos on any server, so I need to get my name. It's important that my name is not Daimlos XYZ, because that's just being an asshole. But also, I like our no drama server and being able to go anywhere at any time and having the camp that I want. It's so nice. It's like it was when we played in pre-alpha, where we could just do whatever we wanted and there was always room for everybody. It's just so nice.
Here's the thing. I didn't realize this until they put this poll up. I thought that our names were universal across all servers. So
I thought that too.
I thought that when I reserved Drac, that I was reserving Drac on every single server. And so I didn't understand that characters were per server until this poll went up. So I'm a little pissed about that.
Well, it better not be the case when 1.0 rolls out, because they promised us guaranteed name. So it shouldn't matter what server we pick. It better be server wide. Only my account can use the name Daimlos. That's what I want. That's what I paid for.
100%. Yeah. No, I need Drac on every server. There can be imposter Drac with 2 C's or whatever. Like, sure, he can exist, but no more DRAQs. Like, that's my name and get out.
Yep. No one else can use it.
Do we need to get Mr. C on the Joppa stream and ping him with that question, or what do we need to do here?
Maybe we should just do it. Maybe I should just go on that thing and just blow him up. Where's my name? Where's my name, Joppa? What if I took your name? How would that make you feel? Because I was on another server than you. It doesn't feel good, does it? Can't be 2 Joppas. Clearly, we're a little bitter.
Speaking of not feeling good,
other than you,
other than me, there is a petition on change.org to remove Chevron mobs from Pantheon Rise of the Fallen.
Why is this a thing? Is this really where our developers should be spending the time? We don't even have classes done yet. Why would we be changing how mobs are in the game? Just hold your horses, let them finish the game first before we start balancing. We cannot balance anything. That's why this PvP server is so dumb too. Nothing is balanced. It won't be balanced for years. Why would we even consider starting this? There is no way on Pantheon's green terminus that this is even doable. We don't have anything done to make it balanced to then figure out a system to take away chevrons or put in chevrons. Honestly, Drac, I don't know how you feel about this chevron thing. I don't care either way. There's got to be group mobs. There's got to be solo mobs. If we distinguish them or not, I don't care. If you want to figure it out yourself and die all the time, then that's your stupid plan. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to be rolling with a group no matter where I go, so it doesn't bother me any. So if a mob is a group mob, great. But you better believe that if this is what we want, then you absolutely better be putting group level mobs within solo areas. And you have no idea how to tell one from the other. You just have to good luck it. Good luck.
Well, I don't know if you read the whole change.org petition.
It's a fucking novel. There's no chance I'm reading it all. Put the TLDR at the bottom, or usually at the top, and maybe I'll consider reading that. But I am definitely not reading this dude's post or any part of it because it's a novel.
It is kind of novelific, but in the post, he goes into how mobs shouldn't be group mobs, how they should just be mobs with a set difficulty. And so some mobs are just harder than other mobs. And so that way you can have kind of 2 to 3 person groups that can do this content on this difficulty of mobs, and like full groups that do content on this level of mobs. Whereas right now it's just you have solo mobs and they're one level of difficulty, and Chevron mobs and they're a much greater level of difficulty. He does make a few good points, which is I don't really feel like we get our bang for our buck when killing group mobs currently. Like, there is absolutely no incentive to kill group mobs. You level faster soloing orcs in AVP than you do grouping up and going into Hounders. Like, you just do. And so really, if we're playing a grouping game and we want the social aspect of EverQuest, then we have to incentivize grouping more, and loot isn't enough. I think we've clearly figured that out. You can't just put loot on a group mob and say that's enough for people to go do that, because it doesn't happen, because they just out level it and then they come back with 3 people and kill it. So it's a problem. But again, I'm with you. I don't think it makes a difference. I think that this is so far ahead of where we're at currently that it doesn't matter. This is so dumb. We need content and we need classes, and
this ain't either of those.
I mean, I think that the drama in between the content drops kind of keeps the community active and gives them something to talk about, but I don't really think it really helps game development. Like,
definitely not.
They're going to have to figure this out once more of the game is made, and I'm sure they will. Now, where Joppa pushed back on this is that, well, then you basically are either consigned to, you're making all these mobs more powerful than anyone can kill with a lower amount of people in your group, or everything is trivial to a 6-man group because you're just going to be able to mow through everything. That's a problem. And that's why we went to Chevrons in the first place. And I think that's a good point by Joppa. And I think that's the reason that Chevrons are in the game to begin with, because you need something challenging for the Chevron, for a full group.
Either way, this game is 2 to 3 years away from being done, and this idea is 2 to 3 years away from being implemented. So whatever they decide to go with, this whole the fact that someone made a petition on change.org is just asinine.
It's like, so funny to me.
You have no idea what your priorities are for the development of a game.
We got climate change, we got COVID, we got all this like heavy political stuff, and then we got Pantheon Chevron mobs.
This is not, I've seen change.org petitions for stupid stuff. I think there was one for like remake Earthbound or something along the lines of that. So it's like we've gone from hardcore political stuff to just really dumb shit like this. And it's not, I shouldn't call it dumb shit, but right now, before the game is even done, before classes are done, before any balancing has taken place, this is what you want the tiniest development team ever to work on, not the actual game. You want them to figure out mob level. Get out. I cannot. This is
dumb. Your level 27 paladin can't even fill his bar full of skills yet. Like,
it's just
so dumb.
Warrior. The paladin fills it all up, but yeah, okay. The warrior still has one spot open. Ugh, unbelievable. Anyway.
All right, I'm
done talking about this because I just am so heated, but not heated by it at the same time.
All right, well, we got a newsletter. Exciting, the March newsletter. Are you excited for the March newsletter?
No, this is usually not anything. Like, it's not informative. It's not. It just tells us what's happened.
Whoa! There was some breaking news in this newsletter.
Oh, please let me know.
All right. PvP server coming April 2nd. news drop, beans.
Oh, did they drop the
boom.
date? I mean, we already knew it was coming,
April 2nd.
but now we have the date
2nd.
thanks to the newsletter.
Yep. Good job,
What
newsletter.
happened to the marketing team? Where's the video that shows me 2 seconds of actual gameplay and then tells me that the PvP server is coming on April 2nd?
Where's the advanced testers testing the PvP server?
Ugh, this is just another talk about why did we start this show out with 2 things that are just a giant waste of time? I can't wait to see day 1. I'm sure the server will be full. By day 5, it'll be at 1/4. It'll be as populated as Stormona because the lure will be over and no one will want to play it because this is not what people actually want. This is what 15 people want. And that's the end of the list. And then the 15 people that actually want it will figure out, oh, there's only 15 people playing on our server and there's not any PvP here and we just need to go back to wherever and not play this game.
Did I ever tell you I created a level 1 halfling cleric? No, not halfling. High elf cleric on Rylos Zek, which was the group PvP server for EverQuest. I created a day 1 character for that. And
Why?
There were 150 people in Greater Fadark for that thing. It was crazy. And then, as you said, a week and a half later, nobody was playing on that server at all.
I mean, will be a couple, right? There are certainly people that do want this, but we already had this 247. That was already the PvP server. And how many people played that? Nothing. Just because it was an hour-long extraction doesn't mean it's
played it.
Yeah, Desrin and 13 other people played it.
And he didn't like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not a PvP guy, so it's not. It is what it is. But like,
he was just dedicated.
No one's going to be playing this. It's so dumb. And then what? You can't trust anybody to get a group together. It's a group-focused game. I wouldn't trust anybody on this server, even my own guild. Like I don't get PvPers. This is a terrible episode so far.
Hey, Joppa, you get me so excited about classes and abilities. When you say you're someone, I'll come and friends for me. Hey, Joppa, I hoped your words were pure gold. My broken heart is my fault, so now I carry around an extra shaker of salt. Hey, Joppa.
Well. We had 4 streams this week for Joppa and 10 hours of streaming.
And some of it late night. We're Joppa After Dark. Woo! Sexy time.
Sexy time.
Strap on your beanies, boys. We're going after dark.
Speaking of strapping it on, Joppa is not afraid of people leaving because Pantheon doesn't have, quote, insert feature here, that is not in the game yet. He says 1.0 is where the rubber meets the road. We must keep on a development path that makes sense. You'll be back.
Like PvP and Chevrons. Oh, we got to stop this. We got to stop talking about this stuff.
Focus, Dylos.
Sorry,
Focus.
I can't help it. This is the path that we're taking. PvP server. Unbelievable. Not the path we should be taking. Anyway.
Every topic this week is rounded back to PvP server.
How bitter sauce I am. You know, I am sorry if there are any people that watch this show or listen to this show that really want to do PvP. I guess I should stop being bitter. That's the last PvP for the rest of the show. That's the Daimlo's guarantee right there.
All right, laying it down. Also a guarantee, or kind of a guarantee, or maybe a little bit of a guarantee, is patching every week. And
we are.
Which has been so far on actually happening. But Joppa says that since they have a dedicated patch time, that many improvements only get midway done, right? So this allows for things to keep moving. It also, quote, feels, quote, sloppy.
That's how I like my testing.
That's
Extra sloppy.
That's how you like your testing. Well, and he just says that, like, just understand that this is development, and this is how development goes. Not everything is going to be polished. Some things are going to be put in, and it's not going to go well, and you just have to, like, deal with it. And that's, like, And again, this is the problem with going to early access, because everybody has this expectation of like, when you push stuff, it should come out pretty good because we're in early access. We're not in alpha or beta. He
Nope.
says that, and a couple of other interesting quotes was, quote, "We are not a well-established dev team," quote,
Okay.
"We are growing up right before your eyes," which I thought was super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of new people, a lot of people taking on roles that they've not ever done before or don't have a whole lot of experience in. So yeah, he's right. And honestly, I like that is the case because they're not a corporate shill, right? Like we want the game to be the way it is, and we don't want things like corporations forcing VR to have a cash shop, even though they're going to have a cash shop, or forcing them to do something that doesn't belong just to push it out, just to make money. So gamers, man, gamers.
You have to take the good with the bad, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to take the, hey, we're a new dev team, we're figuring this out, we're growing, then you're going to have to be understanding when they push things out and it doesn't work and it feels sloppy. And for the most part, I think we do a pretty good job of doing that.
It's fine. This is what we've been used to for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I
We
understand
complain
that
for a
others
little
don't.
bit.
Yeah.
We complain for a little bit and then we get over
Get it out. Just get it off our chest,
Yeah. If you need some therapy, come join our Discord and talk to us about it. It'll be fine.
We'll get Redbeard on the show for you.
Joppa says most damage done and first to engage servers would be his preference for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen.
Okay.
If you had to choose a most damage done server or a first to engage server, which would you do?
Oof. That's a great question, Jack. I think, honestly, because I don't want any headaches, I would just prefer the FTE and be done with it. I also like the idea of most damage done, but we have clearly, between Drama's Gate 1 and 2, we clearly can't govern ourselves anymore. That is a thing of the past. As we talked with Fate, having lists and people who respect people's being there first, and no one respects people anymore. It's just kind of ridiculous. So, and devs can't govern this. There's not enough devs. There will never be enough devs. There will never be enough guides for those that are like, oh, I was a part of the guide system and we were able to do this. Well, they won't be able to do that. That's
guides are a thing of the past. Like literally companies have been sued over having volunteer guides for abusing them.
Why do you think EQ got rid of them?
Yeah, because
there's a reason.
Yeah, they got sued. So we can't, logistically, we can't do guides anymore. You can't be a volunteer guide. It's not a thing.
So how do we take that out? We may make everything first to engage and put it in the programming and take it out of humanity's hands, because humanity is lost in MMOs. We don't remember what it was like to be kind to each other. It's only selfishness and more selfishness.
Well, I kind of remember how to be kind. I thought I was a nice person.
Right? There's a few of us that's still out there that are willing to be kind and not harass and not kill, steal, or any of that bullshit. But there's so many terrible gamers that just are complete jerks. And we found a server, we made a server that doesn't have any of those people on it except for one who I can't dox. Other than that guy who I've not even seen around, so yay, I win. We made a server that's like that, where people are, for the most part, kind to each other. But we also don't have any super competition. There's not any unhealthy guilds on our server that are like trying to own everything. We don't have any huge conglomerate guilds that ruin everything. So I don't know. I like most damage done. I think if someone wants to come after me on a contested mob, that's fine. That's fun. Most damage done is fun, but I just think that it'll only cause headaches, and it just makes me lean towards first to engage.
So here's the next question. Can you develop an MMORPG in 2025 for both most damage done and first to engage without having issues between the two.
Like separate servers?
If they're going to develop both, does that not split all the efforts? Like, won't we run into issues with like coding and like, aren't there going to be huge issues? Because I remember when they tried to take EverQuest on the TLP servers and make it first to engage, they had tons of issues with it. So are we? Is it taking on too much of a workload to do most damage done and then FTE servers? Like, is that going to create issues with development?
As long as they're doing it now, I don't think so, because now if you go to Oakwind, those bugs have been squashed for the most part. Everything works as it should. I mean, it took them a year to probably get there, probably less than that for the main nasty bugs, and I'm sure they're still finding little ones, but I feel like they're going to roll out this first to engage at some point again. Like it's something that they had talked about implementing on all servers if it worked out. So I just think that it's the path of least resistance, and that especially for a small team like VR, it just, you can't have this, and it really just needs to be first to engage. It's unfortunate that we can't have servers of old where most damage done is king, but you know, welcome to 2025.
So you think develop for first to engage and then have your PvP most damage done server off to the side and let people go at it?
Yeah, I mean that actually is a pretty good idea. The FTE for the PvE servers and the MDD for the PvP servers. That's a lot of letters thrown around, but I think that would be a fine split. I think you could do both. I don't think you would take up too much time. I mean, if Darkpaw can take the shoestring coding that is EverQuest and slap a first to engage thing on it, on that dumpster fire of a coding, then I think it's probably doable for Pantheon as well.
All right. Well, I know you wanted to talk more about Chevrons. So Joppa spent his latest stream talking a lot about Chevrons and a lot about the petition. Because he's taking it very seriously. Because there were 61 people that signed that petition. So I think that's a sizable group of people.
61 people out of the 30,000 that are on the Discord?
Yeah, but okay, you know the amount of people that are willing to actually sign stuff is
sure
not that high. Of course, maybe he just rounded up a bunch of people. Vendini's got a joke going around that we should round up a bunch of people and make the petition to keep Chevron mobs.
I wonder if we could even get 61 people to sign that. Listeners in the comments below, if you want us to start this petition and are willing to sign it, put it in the comments below so we can get that rolling, and we'll let you know next week.
So Joppa talked a little bit about why he thinks that we shouldn't just unilaterally get rid of Chevrons and that we actually have to think about it a little bit. And he didn't really.
Why would we ever think about anything?
He didn't really.
Let's Chris Rowan off the hip, get rid of Chevrons altogether. Just do it. Boom. They're gone.
Tomorrow's patch day. Let's just rip them out.
Yep. No one knows what anything is anymore. Let's just take out the con system too. Who cares?
You know what? That's just cheating.
Yeah. You shouldn't know. If it's gray or red, who knows? You got to find out on your own. Enjoy your 5% experience debt. F around and find out. Chevron around and find out.
Oh, boy. I'll make the t-shirt after the show's over.
It's that's a great one.
Joppa talked a little bit about how it's really hard to balance group mobs. And it's really hard to make mobs that are for 2 to 3 people or 3 to 4 people as opposed to full group mobs, which is why the Chevrons are important. He talked a little bit about other ways to solve the problems. He wants more routes to the higher level content, right? Or the deeper dungeon mobs that are quicker to get to. He also thinks that maybe, possibly, just maybe, people might be misremembering how hard EverQuest was originally.
It was 25 years ago. Of course, we don't even have that original game anymore. P99 is close. That game's hard. Have you played P99? That's a hard ass game. It's not forgiving in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think a lot of people play TLPs and then they think that's what EverQuest was, and it's just not. It's just not that way.
It's not even close.
It's not even close.
Every classic TLE that comes out, or TLP that comes out, is not the same game.
Yeah. And originally only really a few classes, Necromancer and Enchanter, could really do a lot of solo dungeoning. Like the monk couldn't do it. Like even the mage couldn't do it because the pets just couldn't take enough damage. And so, it's just not how it was. And there were a lot of people that made enchanters and necromancers just so they could solo dungeon mobs, and that's fine. But I think we get this, like, we forget how it actually was type mentality. And so,
especially like that very first 2 years. Remember when we first went to Cunark and we found ourselves in Ferione V, and we stepped out of that ghetto town and we just got slaughtered. Like, it was not easy. Those drachnids were serious mobs. And then we tried to get to Canors, and that just was death everywhere. I wouldn't even go into certain zones like the Emerald Jungle. That shit scared the crap out of me.
Dude. Yeah, there were mobs that would see invis in there too. It was nasty.
They made it way easier. It was not easy. You got nothing handed to you. People, again, it's been 25 years. Of course we are misremembering.
They had the hunters or whatever, the zone surrounding Cebalus, which had they were faster than Spirit of the Wolf and faster than bards, and they would root and they would track you down and they would beat the crap out of you.
Oh, the frogs?
Yeah, the frogs. Remember those frogs? And they would see through invis too. So it was rough.
There was nothing you could do to get away from death. Not any magic is helping you, nothing. If you didn't fight your way through everything, you went nowhere.
Joppa also mentioned that perhaps chevrons are centered a bit too much around interrupts, and it's really the only core gameplay that matters a lot when it comes to group mobs, which we've been saying this forever. Like, you have to pay attention to the interrupts. You cannot let that mob sit there and cast whatever it wants to cast. You have to figure out what's a priority, and you have to shut it down. Otherwise, you're going to get your butt kicked.
Well, that is a mechanic, right? Like, that's what makes certain classes needed, or it makes it easier. It's just one key to the many keys that it takes. Like, if you want to have 2 healers in your group and you want to try to heal through Ravage, I'm sure between a Cleric Bubble and a Shaman Hot, you could heal through it. That's just another key to being able to take care of that stuff. Or, you just interrupt it, and the Enchanter or the Wizard is the key to that path. I don't think it's bad. I think it's good. We just need more, right? But again, we are still developing this game. We are still balancing this game. We are 2 to 3 years away from any of this gameplay, what the real game is going to be played like, even come to fruition. So the fact that we're talking about it now, and it's not been tweaked, and the classes aren't done, and we don't even know what some of the classes even do in their entirety, like, I just don't understand why we are so passionate about making so abrupt changes to things that we don't even know what the end result is yet. So let's just be a little patient.
100%. And think about this. Like, Joppa talked a little bit about this last week. Mobs don't even run the correct way in Pantheon. They don't even run as well as they did in EverQuest, right? When they fix that, and they've said they're going to fix it, when they fix that, then all of a sudden you have an additional element to every group mob that you fight, that you have to have a snare component. Because if that mob runs to the next group of mobs, which it doesn't do currently, it just runs into a wall or something stupid, right?
Right.
Then that's going to be a big deal. Right. Yep. And also, we only have about 6 dispositions for mobs. And they've said there's going to be like 30 to 50 dispositions for mobs. And so we're not even close to even knowing what mobs can do yet. So this is just crazy sauce. Like, let's get the content in the game. Let's get the dispositions in the game. Let's get the freaking skills in the game. We don't even have charm in the game yet. Let's figure this out and then go back and discuss whether we want chevrons or not.
This is what I'm talking about every time we talk about the loud minority. These 61 people are the loud minority of Pantheon. I'm sure you're passionate about it, and I'm sorry that your immersion is ruined by a single chevron, but damn, let's get our priorities straight. This is not it. This can't be it. Just let the developers do their jobs for a little bit before you blow them up with a change.org petition. Unbelievable. I'm sorry, Joppa, that you even had to put up with this. This is absolute just bunk. Not fair. It's not fair to VR for 61 people to say this.
Speaking of things we have to put up with, Joppa mentioned that the Herode quote noises need to be adjusted.
Oh, you mean the Herode monkey noises?
The monkey noises?
Oh, I love it.
It's pretty funny.
It's silly. Is this do you think this is like a PVL, just a little troll from our friends at PVL?
I mean, probably.
I mean, love it.
I don't really care. It doesn't bother me,
right.
but it is kind of funny that people are upset about it.
I'm sorry, Phil.
Two things that are on Joppa's mind that are actually three things, so that didn't make any sense. But Joppa is considering a self-res for the cleric/druid.
Good.
So you would cast a spell, you would have a thing that appeared in your inventory, a seed or a shard or something, and then if you died, you would then click on the seed or the shard, and then you would be rezzed, and then you could res your party. So that way, a party wipe wasn't an end to the night, right? Because that's the big thing. If you're in the bottom of a dungeon and you've kind of cleared your spot, but you pull too much and you wipe, you have to start all over. And the prospect of starting all over in a dungeon is so exhausting. And so what happens is your group's just like, that's just enough for me for today. I'm going to go to sleep. Or move to the next thing or whatever, right? So this idea of a self-res so your group can pop back up, you still lose some experience, you still take a hit, so you don't want to die, but you can keep going. And I think that's really key.
Yeah, I mean, if all you got to do is look to EverQuest 2, there's a spell called Supplication, and it just pops you right up, and then you pop up everybody. It's that simple. You don't need anything in your inventory. You just click the button and you pop up. It's just that simple. And put it on a huge cooldown. Put it on a whatever. I guess if we're talking about not ending the night, then that's probably not putting it on a huge cooldown is better for that. But yeah, no, this is we've been begging for clerics and shamans to get their own self-res forever because it just screws them over. So, I mean, I get that they can res their bodies now, but remember when they couldn't and they just had to eat the full while everyone else got a res? Just silly, just a bunch of silliness. It's the same thing. Just let them pop back up and res everybody and continue on.
Joppa also talked about another thing that would help groups stay together is call the hero for perhaps summoners and maybe another class, maybe wizards. Ooh.
Oh, then if they're giving it to wizards, they're going to give it to druids, and you're still out.
No, don't give it to druids. No, druids don't get all the cool stuff.
The hell they don't. That's part of being a druid is that you get all the cool stuff.
Ugh.
Listen, regular, normal, boring wizard, you get out of here, and druids are the new hotness, so get over it.
Probably will. Speaking of getting out of here, Joppa also talked about some safe spots in dungeons. Did you know the map room in Helmir's Cave was originally supposed to be a safe spot?
It still kind of is. It just is. It has that thing that walks all the way up the stairs. You can avoid that. And there's nothing that walks into the room itself. So it is technically a safe spot.
Yeah, but Joppa doesn't want a safe spot to where you can pull to. Right? He wants the safe spot to where you could just hang out, right? So if groups are pulling mobs to an area, it's by definition not a safe spot.
What do you mean? I need further explanation on that.
So if I am camped out in the map room pulling mobs to that area, and then my group wipes, then those mobs are going to aggro other people. So it's by definition not safe, right? So the map room is not a safe spot. You can't just sit down in the map room, go AFK, and it's possible for you to come back and be dead.
So we need to code certain areas that mobs break off.
That
So, like,
you can't. Yes,
If you cross the stairs, the top of the stairs in the map room, the ghost won't chase you that far up.
I believe that's what Joppa's saying. Yes, that there's spots in the game where
be exploitable.
Well, I would assume that those would have to be far enough away from regular mobs where you couldn't exploit it.
Where are you putting that in a dungeon?
I don't know how that's going to work.
It's not great.
It kind of seems like happy talk that we're just like, oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Safe spots.
Yeah, it was safe spots. No, just put in Call of the Hero and let people get to other people. Not that that's not exploitable either, but make sure they're not in combat or what you have to do to protect that. But it's just there's no real great answer. And we were talking about this on After Dark last night. Like, it just always used to be you sucked it up and you fought your way back down again. I don't understand what the problem is. Fight your way back down and get more XP to get your body.
I mean, we certainly sucked it up a few times last night.
Well, sure. Mostly thanks to you, but
mostly thanks to me. Joppa talked a little bit about the undead because currently there's not a lot of like undead bonuses for necros, paladins, and clerics. But he talks about a mechanic where when you're around undead, that they will place stacks of corruption on you and your group. And then the necros, paladins, and clerics will be able to use those stacks of corruption to cast undead-only spells for big damage / big effects.
Yeah, every time I hit a sweet undead with my 13 undead nuke, 13 damage, it just makes me feel so good. I love using
13 whole damage? Like that's not rounded down or anything?
No, it's 13 whole damages. Love it.
Last but not least, Joppa blocked his very first person in chat.
Oh, so dirty.
He didn't like doing it, but he did it.
Good.
And it's very like this guy was relentless and just relentless, being a jerk. Like he was completely.
Was it just let me play the damn game?
No, it was not. It's nobody that we know. There were many guesses in chat about who it was. They were calling out, let's just say, well-known people that are Pantheon trolls. But the name itself was not one that I'd ever seen before. But I just thought it was funny that was the first person that he'd ever banned from chat. He didn't even know how to ban anyone in chat. He had to figure it out on the fly. So good job, Joppa. Way to bring down the hammer.
You're growing up before our eyes as a streamer.
5.
Drac, I'm so disappointed in you.
4.
Luckily, every week I dominate this list and just destroy Dimos.
3.
I thought you would just tuck your head between
no
your
way.
cheeks.
No, my list is amazing.
It's not at all.
2.
Oh, already your list is the worst. Your list is the worst.
1.
All right. Top five. Dimos, I'm still salty because of great popcorn, but luckily for me, I won once again last week, and we are moving on to a fresh, new, exciting top 5, which is the top 5 healing spells in any game.
What is it like to live in your head where you just are so delusional that you think that Crystal Diarrhea Geyser and your 5 coconut oils could win you any sort of top 5 ever in the history of top 5s? I've literally won all but one of these things, and you are just the most delusional person on the planet.
The chat has spoken and has crowned me champion.
That has never happened to anybody that's listening. The chat has never said that you are that.
They've said, Dimos, your list is horrible. Drac, we don't even know how you do this week to week, but you win once again. Keep it up, buddy. That's what they tell me every week.
I don't think that that's the case at all. But okay, this is a great top five. Top five healing spells. You are not so much of a healer, but I really enjoy healing classes. It has made me, for my love of paladin, is because I wanted to tank and be a healer. So it's like the best of both worlds. So healing has had a very huge effect on me. I was the healer, the druid of our little trio that really got me into MMOs, and I just really like healing. So this is a good category for me. I don't know about you, but
I'm
you
kind of
also had a
insulted.
cleric at one
I'm
point.
insulted. I was the healer for a while in our little static group.
Oh yeah, you were in Dark Age of Camelot. You played the healer,
And EQ2. Templar.
Templar. Okay,
Templar, that's the one I played.
okay. Well, heals are great. It's a staple to any MMO and really just in any game. So we're not even talking about MMOs here. We're talking about across all games and platforms. So let's get this thing rolling. What's number 5, Drac?
I didn't even remember this one, but I also played the healer in World of Warcraft. And one of my favorite heals was Swift Mend, because this was the first really reactive heal that I had ever seen in an MMORPG. So you put regrowth, or there was a couple other spells that you could do this to, and they were heal over times. And you put that on the tank or whatever, and then you cast Swift Mend, and it would complete the heal over time and add additional healing to it. And it was super cool because it was like you were a heal over time healer, but you had that little bit of burstiness. And World of Warcraft was the first one to do this, as far as I'm aware. And I thought it was a really great mechanic.
Well, I completely agree with you that WoW did a great job with their healers. I loved Shaman. The totems were a lot of fun. But for me, my number 5 comes from the priest class in World of Warcraft, and it is Power Word Shield. The very first bubble that I remember. Wards are a thing. They were in EQ2, being able to forget healing. Let's prevent damage. That's my type of healing. And one of the reasons that the priest, to me, is one of the best healing classes across all games. Just because I feel like the spell is so good, and it just makes healing kind of easy, especially if we're talking about like the cleric and Pantheon. These bubbles just kind of make it easy street. And I just really like that about the healing, the prevention of damage rather than healing the damage that you've taken. I thought it was a new and interesting way of doing the heal thing, because that certainly didn't exist in EQ1. So I just thought this was a really great idea and a really great take on a different path to take healers. WoW did a really good job with the heal class, the multiple heal classes.
Yeah, I mean, if you want boring shielding, then I guess it was great. But if you wanted not boring healing, then you played Wildstar, because Wildstar was one of the most crazy healing experiences that ever was, because you had to move around while healing, and you had to aim your heals. And so my favorite healer, I made 2 different types of healers, a medic and a spell slinger in Wildstar. And I was one of the only people, like, I shouldn't say only, there were more, but it wasn't a well-played class. The spell slinger healer was my absolute favorite. And my favorite heal was Vitality Burst. And it was this skinny little line, like just barely skinny that you could see. And it went forever. Like, it had a huge,
Like a sniper shot.
It was a sniper heal. And so if you were good at landing this thing, it was amazing. And I was really good at landing it, so I loved it. And I also loved Wildstar, which you didn't participate in, but that's really your loss.
I'm really sad that we don't have a Wildstar like emulator server. Where is that? Where people would fund that game to no end. Like if Stars Reach can reach a Kickstarter milestone where in a world where Pantheon can't, Wildstar has to be able to hit that. Get these developers back on a team and put something together so we can play Wildstar again. I'm really sad that I missed out on that.
Wildstar was such a good game.
It's too bad humanity ruined it.
They made so many good decisions, but then they also made so many bad decisions. Speaking of bad decisions, what's your number 4?
Oh, hilarious. So my number 4 comes from a game that, no one's really ever heard of. Dungeons and Dragons, 5th edition, Drac. Number 4 is Goodberry. And why is Goodberry so good? Goodberry, the spell itself, is okay. It's a druid spell where you conjure 10 berries, and each berry has 1 hit point of life in it. But if you are looking to do a little min-maxing, there is a feat called the Healer Feat, where you can take a healing kit, you take a charge of a healing kit, and then you get 4 additional hit points plus a d6 onto whatever heal spell you cast. So when you feed someone a 1 hit point Goodberry, it turns into a possible 11 hit point berry, which just, so then a level 1 spell becomes 110 hit points, maximum of 110 hit points of potential healing from a level 1 spell. It's so broken. But even without the feat, it's still a great spell. You just come to 1, right? So if you're negative 14, you eat a Goodberry, someone shoves a Goodberry down your throat, you're back to 1 and you're back alive. So it's like, it can be a great just healing spell while someone's making their death saving throws. So yeah, Goodberry, if you are a druid or a cleric, make sure you take Goodberry. Forget healing word's good because it's from range, but cure wounds, terrible. You should not waste your spell slots on heals that can't keep your party up. Just use Goodberry and you got 10 1-point heals at your disposal, and you can even pass them out. So that's the Daimlos D&D tip of the day is Goodberry. Number 4.
Let me get this straight. So you're a druid healer in your party, and you have a bag of grapes, and you reach down into your bag of grapes and you grab a handful of berries, and then you walk up to behind your tank, you reach around and you put the berry in his mouth, and then that heals him.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like the lamest thing ever.
It's one of the most effective things ever. So that's why these Goodberries come into play, because if someone goes down, you can feed them the Goodberry and they come back up and have another turn. So it's all about turn economy, not necessarily keeping people alive, right? Does that make sense?
So he's on the ground.
Yes.
You walk
shove
up
it down
to
his
him,
throat.
and then you reach into your bag of berries and you put it in his mouth while he's on the ground dying.
Yes. And then he comes back at 1 and he's back up.
Makes total sense.
And you can still cast a spell after that, because your Goodberries is not casting a spell. You're just shoving a berry down his throat. Cure Wounds is not a spell that any healer should take, and that's a hot take from favorite healer Daimlos.
Well, if we're going to eat some stuff, then I'd rather have chicken than berries, which is why my number 3 best healing spell of all time is Taste Like Chicken. And that is from the Warhammer MMO, and that is from the Squig Herder class. The most hilarious, funny, just absolute so much fun of a class that ever was. And the Taste Like Chicken heal is a self-heal. So you basically just kind of pull out a chicken, eat it, and then regain some health for yourself. And it was super hilarious.
This is another one that I did not play with you. This sounds like a class that's up your alley, just completely ridiculous and delusional, like your top 5 lists. So yeah, Tastes Like Chicken sounds like a real good one. Moving on, because this is a terrible list so far. For me, number 3 is Heal Arrow from a game I've talked about in the past, and I know you hate it, but Eternal Sonata. So this comes off of, I can't even remember the gal's name, but she's the best person in this whole game. She's the archer. She's like the enchanter, does the most damage, does all the coolest stuff. So this one is, not only does she do the most damage out of anyone in the party, she also is the best healer in the game. And this Heal Arrow spell is so awesome because she can be anywhere on the map. There's no range to this Heal Arrow. Your tanks can be way on the other side. You could be dishing damage way from the back with your arrows, with your bow and arrows. And then at the very end of your turn, you can toss up a heal arrow and basically heal them for a third to half their health. And that's everybody, not just one person. It is all 3 characters in your party. This heal arrow is unbelievably broken, along with how much damage she outputs too. It's crazy. This is one of my favorite PlayStation games of all time. It's on the PlayStation 3, We've talked about it in past rewinds. Again, if you've never played it, get yourself a PS3 or an emulator. Go play Eternal Sonata. Learn all about Frederick Chopin, one of the greatest composers of all time, and play a really great RPG called Eternal Sonata.
Yeah. You know how I feel about Eternal Sonata.
Yeah, we are playing this game. I'm telling you, the next time I come out there, we're playing it because I feel like you and your brother got a bad taste and you just didn't get it. And you and I are going to play and we're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to change your mind on this.
Super fun. You know what else is
We're
super
going to eat
fun?
great popcorn the whole time, too.
Playing Wildstar, which is why my number two favorite heal of all time is Crisis Wave. So the medic, while not my favorite class, was just the most fun class, healing class ever, because you were basically a beatboxer that did point blank area of effect healing.
Nice.
And so you had to stay like right on top of everybody. And then Crisis Wave is this square that's around you, and it shows you the exact area where the healing will happen, and it's really close to you. And so you have to position this heal to get everybody inside the square that you want to heal. And so it was just an amazing idea and just really an amazing heal. And it was super powerful, but if you could land it and if your tank didn't move out of the way of it.
Can we start a real change.org petition to get Wildstar back in an emulation server? I feel like our time is better used to try to get Wildstar back than it is to take off chevrons on mobs. This is ridiculous.
The best idea you've ever had, right? Maybe next week should be the top 5 change.org petitions that are better than Chevron mobs.
That's absolutely terrible. We may have to look into that because I don't know many of them, so we'd have to go look it up. Our Patreons would probably revolt because they'd have to go do actual homework on these things to put a list together. Like we would. We'd have to actually put a bunch of time in it rather than just rattling stuff off that we know. But yes, I think we need to get this game back. Someone needs to, we need a Nathan Napalm to champion it like he did with Vanguard. Try to get the code back. Try to get the game.
We failed on Vanguard. Maybe this can be our win. Maybe this is the fundraising project that the Pantheon community needs while we wait during the slow times of Pantheon being developed.
You main Wildstar emulator while we wait for Pantheon to be developed for the next 2 to 3 years. Yes, this is where we're at.
This is a great.
Make it so, number one. All right, moving on to my number 2. This comes from one of the games close, near and dear to my heart, EverQuest 2. It comes from Shocker, the Paladin class. It's called Prayer of Healing. Now, Prayer of Healing has been around since the beginning of EQ2, but it wasn't till we started getting AAs in ROK that this spell really took off. So what Prayer of Healing is, it is a group ward. So it puts just a kind of a little tiny ward. It's usually right around level 50 was like 1,000 hit points, but it was a group ward. So it kind of just gave a little bit of stability, before your pull, right? Like I would hit Prayer of Healing, I'd pull, and if anything went to the healer or anything like that, we've got 1,000 hit points of damage just kind of as a buffer before we even start taking damage on literally everybody in the group. However, when we got to ROK, we started getting AAs, and this got buffed considerably to the point now it is one of the most broken spells in the game and has made the Paladin one of the best healers in the game. And why did that happen is because now the amount of ward that it is based on a percentage of your hit points as a Paladin. And let me tell you, with the bloat that is EverQuest 2, Paladin hit points are out of control. We are on Chains of Eternity, which is still 13 years old of an expansion. And in battle, while we are fighting in raid battle, I have 2.5 million hit points. So let me tell you, when we're talking about percentages of wards based on my hit point, this Prayer of Healing is awesome. What a great group ward this is. So yeah, number 2, Prayer of Healing from EverQuest 2.
Oh, EverQuest 2. I want to like you so much.
It takes a special person to like you.
I really want to like you so much, but there are just a few things that you just completely drop the ball on.
Yeah.
And stat growth and bloat is one of the things that absolutely killed that game for me and just makes it completely ridiculous.
I get it though. Like, it's not for everybody. It's a fun game. I really enjoy it. I really like the rating. It is super fun. I understand why you don't like it though. But speaking of things I don't like, what's your number one, Drac?
Well, I've noticed a theme with all of your favorite heals from all of your favorite games, which is that you like things that are broken, and you like things that are completely overpowered, and you like things that just dominate the landscape of healing.
Yeah.
And there is no other spell that has been more broken and more dominated the landscape of any game since the beginning of time than Complete Heal.
Yeah. Oh. Well, let me hear your Complete Heal experience, Drac, before I berate this.
I was a cleric. I was a cleric before you were a cleric. I don't know if you knew that. I played a cleric, and I was a raid cleric. And so I was playing EQ in classic EQ, and we had Complete Heal chains, where in our voice chat, you would count down a number, and then you would hit your button for Complete Heal. So you would start your Complete Heal as the person in front of you was finishing their Complete Heal. So then the main tank that was taking the dragon or whatever would get complete healed in, like, it was, I don't know, it was like every 8 seconds or so, and the Complete Heal cast was like 15 seconds or something like that.
It was 10.
Or whatever. We shaved off like 3 or 4 seconds on the Complete Heal because you did it in a rotation instead of waiting for the heal to land and then casting. And so it was just completely broken and completely just like nerfed boss encounters, because you could just heal through. Your tank was unkillable because you could heal through everything, no matter how bad his armor was, no matter how sucky his stats were. It didn't matter, because as long as he didn't get one shot in 5 seconds, he was getting Complete Heal.
I hate Complete Heal. This is one of the most ridiculous spells in the game. Now, I was also a raid cleric. Even though it was on a TLP, we still used the Complete Heal rotation. And we used macros, right? So instead of it being in voice chat, I don't know what voice chat you were using back in 1999, but okay.
Yeah, TeamSpeak.
Yeah, great. You would hit the macro, it would post it in raid chat, and then you start casting the spell based on the macro, and then it would pause. You would set the macro to pause for 3 or 4 seconds, and then it would send either in raid say, or you would send a tell to the next cleric in line, and that's when they hit their macro, so that it just is always in cycle. This is stupid. This shouldn't be a thing. It's a great innovation, and I know that when EverQuest was built, that this was not their intent for it. But, mother necessity is the invention of all, right? Is the inventor of all. So these raid mobs were impossible to take down without it. So the fact that someone came up with this as the solution was just ingenious. But that doesn't mean that the spell itself is stupid. A 10-second heal, the heals that you'd get, and I know that the cleric got every heal, but it only really is good for that raid Complete Heal chain. It certainly didn't come into play in group. And if you're playing something where you can get a feel for 10 seconds, like, I don't feel like that's a very difficult mob. Like, if you can time it so that your tank isn't going down every 10 seconds and you can pop off this Complete Heal, it's just kind of stupid. On top of that, it was so broken because it was back in EQ1 days until several expansions past Plane of Power. So I know you don't play past Velius, so you never saw.
Didn't make it that far.
Yeah. There was a point where Complete Heal didn't complete heal anymore. In EQ, in Classic and in Cunark and in Velius, there was nowhere near the amount of hit points. But by the time, certain expansions rolled around, this was no longer a Complete Heal. The other part that I really hated about Complete Heal is the boxing component between a cleric and an enchanter. So we all know that mobs have a ridiculous amount of HP, more than a Complete Heal. And so you could combo box your enchanter that's doing the craziest amount of damage, getting the most mana regen, and then your cleric box that is just constantly complete healing your pet, and that complete heal is only half the pet's hit points. So talk about the 1-2 punch of all time in a game. This complete heal was super. You're right though, Drac. I should love this because it's super broken, super exploitable, and so unbelievably overpowered. Other than the 10 seconds, the 10 seconds made it a little rough. Sometimes a little, especially if your tank is not well geared or not good, it could be real tough to try to manage 10 seconds before it went off, before the group got really pissed off at you. Why are you waiting so long? You should keep your tank topped up off at all times. Anyway, but yeah, I hate complete heal. I really didn't like being in a heal rotation. It just has a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't really care for it. I much prefer just the hots, the clerics got, or just the regular, normal heals that they would get. So I guess good number one, Drac, but probably
kind of sounds like you were conflicted.
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite.
Kind of sounds like you think you should have put it on your list, which means once again you have lost this week.
I know that it doesn't belong on my list because I don't like it. I hate the spell.
And why don't you tell us about your number one, which has a longer cooldown than complete heal,
but does way more? Because lay on hands in either EQ1 or Pantheon, or really any game for the Paladin, is the single-handedly greatest one-time heal of all time.
Sir, it does not do more than complete heal.
It definitely does more.
Lay on hands has a limit. It doesn't.
Complete heal has a limit.
No, not in the only EQ that matters. Not in Valius.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
Lay on hands was a full heal in Velius too.
No, it wasn't. No,
yes, it was.
It absolutely had a limit.
It
had a limit. It had a limit. There was.
Are we going to have to look this up on the show?
Look it up now.
I'm not looking it up right now. We are finishing the show.
I'm looking it up. I'm putting myself on mute and looking it up.
Well, anyway, Lay on Hands, number one best spell from the number one best class, which is Paladin. You can't convince me otherwise. Your list sucks. You lose. I win, like I do every time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
All right. Well, fucking play the song or make the sound.
Biddly-doo, biddly-doo, biddly-doo.
All right. Well, these three lists have got to be absolute trash. We'll see where they're at. Let's start with Dwimble because his list sucks the most. He couldn't even get past EQ. Like he's like a worse Drac.
You want to talk about not getting off your main game? Oh my goodness!
Is this the only game you've ever played in it that has a heal spell in it? Is EverQuest? I get that
he plays two games: EverQuest and Madden Football. That's it. That's all he plays.
Well, he certainly doesn't play Pantheon anymore. That's for sure. I'm coming back to Pantheon every month. I hear I'm coming back, guys. I'm coming back, and then nope. Never there. Okay, so let's run down this one. We've got Celestial Healing. This is more my style of cleric healing, where it's the pulsating heal. I like this in EverQuest quite a bit. Certainly much more than his number 4 Complete Heal. He didn't even put Complete Heal as his number 1 because it's not a good heal. It's boring. It's stupid. It's broken. It's just terrible. It's just a terrible heal. It's not mana efficient, that's for sure. Number 3, Torpor. Did you ever play a Shaman, Drac?
No, I never played a Shaman, but Torpor is a solid heal spell.
I hate this spell. If you're a tank, you hate Torpor because it puts a snare on you, and that's how you.
Oh, I had no idea.
Oh yeah, that's how you run away from a mob, right? You heal your tank and put a snare on him, and then run. All you got to do is outrun the slowest person, right?
That's so awful.
It's the worst.
I would hate
if you play a tank, this is the worst spell in the game by far. I refused to group with shamans that use Torpor on me. I was like, just let me die. Don't use Torpor. Just use your crappy heal and it'll be fine. Next, he had Life Tap. So
Life Tap? Really?
Yeah, I guess.
As a top 5 heal?
It's a heal that does damage to the mob. I guess that's kind of cool. I guess.
No,
but number 2,
this is freaking lame.
This is the worst list because number 1 isn't even a heal spell.
Number 1's not a heal. That's not a heal.
That's not a heal. That just brings you back to life. This is terrible. Dwimble, your list sucks. You put all of 2 seconds into Did you even play a healer? I feel like you've never even played a healer in your life. You've just been healed by these spells, and you got rezzed a bunch of times because you usually play a rogue and you're dead all the time.
That is 100% what it is. The most spell that was cast on Dwimble was Resurrection, and so that's why he likes it the most.
Anyway, let's move to archbishops, whose list I kind of somewhat like, but still really don't. Prayer of Mending, WoW Priest, one of the greatest healing classes of all time. Good. So good job there, starting off strong. But then we move into Torpor. Again, why? I feel like this is the troll
shamans,
of heals.
All these freaking shamans.
They're just trolling. They're just trolling this list of top
really,
5.
Neither one of us really ever invested in a shaman very much.
I boxed a shaman on Thornblade. But I didn't use it. Because I had the cleric. Remember when we first started Thornblade, I was the cleric. So I had a cleric and a ranger. And then it was just like, well, this cleric doesn't really match up with the ranger too well. So I made a shaman, and it did real well with the ranger. It made things very nice. Slow makes the world go round. That slow is really the ultimate heal in EverQuest, right?
Yeah, that would have been a better answer than Resurrection.
Absolutely. Dwimble, you still suck. Number 3 for archbishops is Chain Heal. I love this. Chain Heal, not only was it in World of Warcraft, but also in Warcraft 3. The troll Chain Heal was awesome. Like that was one of the biggest reasons to play Orc was the Chain Heal. It was such a powerful heal spell.
Oh my goodness. The most thing that I remember about Chain Heals was the 3 boxing botters who would run around PvP zones with their Chain Heal and their Chain Lightning, and they would just Chain Lightning anyone that got close to them, and then Chain Heal themselves to keep them up. And it was ridiculously powerful.
Well,
it was ridiculously powerful.
That's why it belongs on top 5 heals of all time. It's a good one. Certainly a shout out to Pantheon for Arc of Light, the cleric Arc of Light, where that little ball of light bounces to your 3 most damaged characters in the party. I just love that spell. It's exactly like Chain Heal. It's literally the exact same spell. Instead of it being a chain, it's just a little ball of light that goes to 3 people in your character or in your group. Remember when it used to go outside of the group and would just heal someone on the side if they were low?
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, yep. That was real broken and fun. Number 2, fungal regrowth from the EQ fungi staff, which I couldn't remember. We had to look up. It's just as a regen. It's a 5 hit point regen, and it put a snare on you. It used to be for everybody, then they nerfed it, and it turned it into just druid and shamans. Eventually, beast lords and berserkers got to use it, but that wasn't until way past you, Drac. I mean, you didn't even make it to Luckland when Beast Lords came in. So
yikes.
Yeah. And then last but not least, last and least, complete heal, the most dumb heal in the game.
Bam.
In the game ever.
Bam.
Yep. Well, I mean, Dwimble agreed with you, so that's where your list is at, Drac.
So we got myself, we got Dwimble, and we got archbishops all with complete heal.
It's
interesting.
Laziness. It's a lazy man's heal.
Interesting.
Lazy man's heal. Here is my boy Zip, who actually took his homework seriously this week and got out of MMOs. So all you MMO idiots, there are other games where healing happens. So number 5 for him was Regeneration and Elder Scrolls. Great. I never played.
First of all, no, because you had to play Elder Scrolls, and that is all negative 50 DKP right there. No.
This one, I'm surprised that you didn't put something like this number 4, Life Drain. So this is like you played a Shadow Knight for forever. I can't believe you didn't put any sort of life tap or your harm touch that eventually heals you after some AAs. I don't
consider a life tap or anything like that a drain. I don't really consider that to be a heal.
I mean, it's technically a heal.
I mean, it heals you, but it's not from a healing class.
So I guess it is a heal.
I'm kind of a purist when it comes to my healers. Sure. I don't deal with any of you dumb necros. No.
I get it, but I like where this is at. I like that Life Drain and I guess technically a Life Tap from Stupid Dwimble is on the list. I do think it's a good, when you damage something to heal yourself, that's cool. I mean, it's like, what's the force power that does that too? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But if it's in Star Wars, then it's got to be good. So yeah. Anyway, then Curaga from Final Fantasy. This is the be all end all of of Final Fantasy heals. It's a group heal, also cures everything. Like, this is the oh shit button of heal spells from the White Mage. And it has made it past not only Final Fantasy 1, but in just about every Final Fantasy. It's in both Final Fantasy MMOs. This is just a staple of heal spells and definitely belongs on a list. I probably should have had it there myself, but I got other things I like to list. Number 2, Zip. Lay on hands. What a smart individual. Zip is my favorite Patreon. Everyone else sucks in the Patreon. Zip, number 1. Everyone else, especially Dwimble, you're the worst. So good job, Lay on Hands. And last but not least, this is Heal from D&D. This is like a level, I want to say 5th level spell, which means you have to be a level 9 cleric to be able to cast it. Maybe 7. I'm getting my numbers wrong, but it is a very high level spell in the land of D&D. It is the first one that is not based on dice, which makes it great. It's just a flat 80 hit point heal, and that's that. And so you don't have to, there's no chance to the heal. There's no like, oh, well, I cast a 5th level spell and you got 5 hit points from it, plus my Constitution modifier or my Wisdom modifier.
Brutal.
Yeah.
The double snake eyes, the double ones.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. Heals should not be based on that. That's why this is probably the best heal spell in D&D, and really the only heal spell you should be casting as a cleric or druid, because it's
right,
efficient.
because if I'm taking my whole action to heal someone
for 10 hit points,
it better freaking win.
Yeah,
like there better be some
it better be a complete heal. That's for sure.
Hey,
yeah.
Then you'd be on my number 1, so then you'd be winning.
Well, good job, Zip. You clearly one of the Patreons. I clearly one of everybody. So, Drac, you are just above Dwimble. So, great job.
Before you leave, we've one final word. Before you've forgotten all that you've heard, there is a moment evergreen. Stay here a while and listen to me.
All right, Timeless. Most weeks I'm really sad to say goodbye, but this week I'm just trying to get to my next throat lozenge and maybe like NyQuil hit.
NyQuil, we love you, you giant fucking Q.
I took some NyQuil right before the show, and bam, 10 years later, I woke up from the coma.
Actually, somehow you do sound better. Like maybe you're just having some adrenaline from the this show that we call The Rewind and how great it is.
Well, see, what I did, Domlos, was right before the show started, I cast Complete Heal on myself.
Oh,
and
my
now
God.
now it's all good.
Now 1 hour later, you're finally healed.
Indeed. Yep, indeed.